how do you actually start this process? Number one, you know what the B1, B2 visa is. You know how long you can stay in the country for, you know how long the visa lasts for, and you now know what the cost is. But what is the process? How do we go about actually applying for this visa? So the first thing that you have to do is to complete a DS-160 form, an application form. I am going to be linking the website below in the description box to where you can go, click, and you can complete the application form. The application form comes with a DS-160 confirmation number. This number starts with AA, and it is super important that you write this number down immediately when you see it. This number will not be sent to you via email, it won't be messaged to you by SMS, nothing. You need to note that down. Either write it down on a piece of paper, put it on your notes, on your sticky notes on your computer, because that is a very important number. You cannot access your application form for editing purposes if you do not have this number. Now, you are able to access the application form for about 30 days in order to complete it, because this is not a one-pager. They definitely are looking for a lot of information from you. Obviously, they're going to want some personal information from you, but it's basically a mini CV or a resume that you're providing to the US government. So they want to know where you live, your parents' information, your previous work experiences, your responsibilities at work, your duties, if you have any contact information for someone who's in the United States, what's your reason for visiting? In the DS-160 application, you will also be stating which visa you are applying for. It's very important to note that you'll be applying for the B1 or B2 visa, or the B1/B2 visa, which is like a combined one, as we discussed earlier. The information that will also be required from you is if you've traveled to any countries in the last 5 years, you'd have to note that down, your passport information and so forth. One of the things that you'll also be required to provide for your DS-160 application form is a photograph of yourself. So it's a digital photograph. You can basically get this at any Kodak or Audio Vision, basically a store where they take pictures of you or they print pictures. They'll be able to do it, and it's not just any sizing or formatting. There's a specific size, and I think it's 5 by 5 inches. Not too sure at this moment, but it's definitely something that you can Google, and they will give you the exact dimensions on the application form. So be sure to, during this process or while you're completing your application form, that you know that you need to go take a picture, ask them for digital copies, not the physical copies, but the digital copies. And yeah, that is basically the last part of the confirmation. They will then, of the application, they will then ask you to print the confirmation page. This is important because you need to take that with to your interview on the day that you go and actually present yourself to the US Embassy for the visa. So number one, you need your DS-160 confirmation number so that you can access your form during a 30-day period to edit it. Don't take that long, by the way, to edit it. Edit it as soon as you can. Number two, you'll need a photograph of yourself with specific dimensions that will be provided to you when you need to upload it. And you need digital copies, please, not the physical ones. And then number three, you need to print your DS-160 confirmation page. So this is the last page. They'll present this to you, and there will be a barcode on it. That's the page that you need to print, not the actual application form, because you need the application, you need the DS-160 confirmation page when you go for your interview. Okay, let's go to the next step, which is your appointment. Okay, so you've done the DS-160 and all is good. You've printed out your DS-160 confirmation page. Next step is actually making your appointment or applying for an appointment on your US Embassy or your consulate in your local area's website, so that you can actually attend the interview. So I'll also be linking down in the description box where you can find your local embassy or consulate and the website that you need to go to in order to make an appointment. So you'll firstly, once you go to the website, you'll need to create a profile for yourself, and this is where your DS-160 confirmation number also comes into play, because once you put that information in, it will bring up your application form and show that you need to make an appointment. Now, before you can make an appointment, you'll have to make a payment of the $160. It's also important that you print this confirmation of payment. They will send you an email. You'll need to print that and also take it with you to your interview. And then once you make payment, then the option to actually apply for an interview or choose a date for an interview will appear on your profile on the website. Make sure that you choose a date that is comfortable to you. If you are in a position where there's only a date, let's say 5 months down the line, there's nothing earlier to that, book it. Don't wait till something comes up earlier. Just book it so that you have an interview. The great thing about this website is that you can actually reschedule, and you can reschedule up until midnight of your interview, the day before your interview, which is great. Because of this option, I was able to reschedule for a March interview for basically the very next day, and this was in January. So don't worry about if your interview is all the way in November and it's currently April. Don't worry if it's only in 2023. Book the appointment. You can always reschedule, and make sure that you check for that rescheduling if there's any cancelled interviews every single day. I can tell you it's going to be worth your while if you check it. That's like a pro tip. Check it every single day, and check it multiple times a day, because you never know when somebody might cancel and an interview slot might open up just for you. All the best. Okay. So you've done everything you need to do. You have your interview, and it's basically like a couple of days, let's say 2 to 3 days before your interview. Make sure that you have all your supporting information. Now, what is the supporting information that you need? So number one, it's going to be the fact that you actually have an appointment. So they'll send you an email to say that you've scheduled an appointment. Make sure that you have that with you. Your DS-160 confirmation page, make sure that you have that. Make sure that you have your payment, that you made payment of your $160. Okay, that's the 3 most important. Now you have supporting documents to prove that you will be returning home after you stay in the United States. Now this is very important. Remember, initially I said that this visa is a temporary non-immigrant visa that allows the holder to visit the United States. That means you're not going to stay there, you're not going to try and find work there. You'll be returning back home to your local country, to your country that you're either working in, or to your home country. So you need to prove that you'll be coming home. So you'll need a letter of employment, 3 months bank statements, 3 months pay slip. Okay, if you're living in a country that is not your home country, make sure that you have a copy of your residence card as well to prove that you will be going back to said country. If you have anything that shows that you have property, fixed assets in a country, make sure that you have that information as well, whether it's your mortgage loan or your deed of sale that you have, or any information that is concrete that will show that you will be returning home to South Africa. Something that is all your home country. Sorry, I'm just speaking from the perspective of a South African. So another thing is that you'll want to make sure that you're also supporting yourself when you will be in America. It is a red flag if somebody else will be supporting you during your stay in the country, because that means you do not have the financial means to even travel to the country. So make sure that you have sufficient amount of money in your bank account, and that you have sufficient funding to support yourself while you're in the United States. It's very, very important that you can prove ties to your home country or to the country that you're currently residing in. Information like this can be asked. Next, I'm going to give you some questions that I've been asked at the interviews that I've attended. Well, the one interview, the B1, B2 visa interview that I attended, the US consulate immigration officer asked me, why are you traveling to the United States? Where will you be staying? or where will you be traveling to in the United States? Are you currently working? Where are you working? What's your position? And then he asked me, I think this particular question was just to show that I am the person who like is applying or was on the application form. Which university did I attend? Now, he didn't ask me for any supporting information, no supporting documentation, but believe me, if they do ask you for something and you don't have it, that will count against you, and your interview or your visa application may be denied. I was actually sitting in the room, and yes, you see people having their interviews. You don't go off into your own little room, okay? You see people go for the interviews, and you see people either being accepted or being denied. And I saw somebody was asked something. I'm not sure what he was asked. He was unable to provide this information to the officer, and because of that, his visa was denied. That means that he has to go through that whole process that I explained again. So he has to pay the $160 again. And once you are denied a US visa, it's kind of like on your record, because you have to state that in your DS-160 application form. So you do not want to be denied ever. Okay. Another question that he actually asked me was, have I been to the United States before? Now, he knows this information, he has it. And I said, yes, I had been. And I told him on which visa that I had been in the United States prior, and when I left the United States as well. So that's like certain type of questions that they can ask you. Again, just because he didn't ask me for information, doesn't like supporting information, doesn't mean that I didn't need it. So make sure that you have your docket with you so that you can provide them with any information that they ask you for. So there you have it, your basic step-by-step process in terms of how to apply for B1, B2 visa. I hope that this helps you with your journey, and that you do apply for that visa and travel to America and visit all the places that you want to visit. So whether that be Florida, going to Miami, going to Walt Disney in Orlando, whether it's going to Alaska, going to California, going to Vegas, going to the Grand Canyon, going to New York, going to Washington DC, so many opportunities and so many places that you can go to. I hope that you take that opportunity if it's presented to you, and that you have a wonderful time on your travels. God bless. Bye.